Wow. Good afternoon, everybody. God bless you so much. This is my name is Akerele, and I'm here again today on our 22nd, on the 22nd edition of our value system change agenda, and the strategic goal of this series is to inspire millions of Africans and to let us see the reason and the need for us to develop new value systems. Like I have said many times over, the difference between the black man and the white man is not in their color. The difference between us is the way we think. The difference between the white man and the black man is in mindset. Color is no longer a source of competitive advantage in this day and time. If you are able to score more goals than Lionel Messi and you are a black man, and you can successfully increase the pitch of your blackness by 300 fold, but you can score more goals than Lionel Messi, you can score 3 times as much goals as Ronaldo can score, and then you are living in one village in Uganda, they will fish you out, regardless of your color. So what counts in this generation is results, impact, influence, value. So the world is now value driven. The world is driven now towards value rather than towards color. So our problem is not color. Our problem is the mind. Our problem is not color. Our problem is the mind. And so in 2018, I want us to change. I want us to become a completely different set of people. The black continent's balance should stop. Anywhere you mention black people to the black continent, it should stop. And we have looked into 21 different value systems. These value systems can change any nation, from deserts to Japan, to Tokyo, to Toronto, to New York. It can pick a nation from the ground and turn them around. And if we are to write this thing in a book, the book will be as big as this. And if we are to transcribe all I've been saying into written form, it will be a very, very good book. Maybe something can come out of it in future, in the next couple of years. I've got other writing projects ongoing, and so maybe I will take that and transcribe it and edit it and look for a publisher, and then we'll make it chapter by chapter. It's going to be a good book, maybe. I mean, value system. Value system, but it's a lot of hard work. Writing a book is very difficult. It's very difficult. I mean, my family pays a lot of very, very, very heavy prices. Because when you're writing books, you shut yourself up in your room, the office, and hours and hours you're doing research, and so it's quite a lot of work. But we thank God for His grace. But today we have a very, 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 very debatable, contentious subject to look into: the value system of placing people above properties. Placing people above properties. Wow. That is a major problem confronting the African continent, all across the length and breadth of Africa. And once again, I am going to use Nigeria as a case study. It's always good to use the largest country in the world as a case study, the country reputed to be the giant of Africa, the country that occupies number 6 position or 7 in the ranking of the largest oil producer in the world. I mean, Nigeria has a lot of things. Nigeria is even regarded as the largest economy in Africa, if South Africa has not deposed Nigeria. But the two countries are always on each other's throat. I'm the biggest, I'm largest. That is irrelevant now. It is results that matter. Now, bragging about number 1 in Africa means nothing if you cannot produce number 1 results. There is nothing like I am number 1 when there is no result to substantiate your position. So America is not just the greatest country in the world because they want to be number 1 numerically. When you look at all the major indices of knowing the greatest country in the world, virtually all of the greatest industries that exist in the world today are owned by Americans. There are some that are owned by Europeans and Asians, but talk of Microsoft is American owned. Talk of Dell, American owned. General Motors, American owned. Ford, American owned. Dell, American owned. And dozens and Walmart, the largest retail store in the world, American owned. So it's not just, America is not just the biggest country because they have mouth. They have evidences, empirical evidences, empirical evidences that we are the greatest. So when you talk of military, Russia is strong, almost at par with the US, but everybody knows that the US is stronger than Russia, because military strength is not just determined by equipment and weapons, it's determined by funding, by the amount of money a country can deploy in the time of war. So America can be fighting 100 wars at the same time, and they are pumping money into it at the same level, billions of dollars. Because Microsoft alone is big enough to sponsor many wars at the same time. So it is time for us to stop brandishing our ranking. We are number one in Africa. We are number one. Do we have number one results? In virtually all the indices of measuring human capital development, Nigeria is lagging behind South Africa and some other African countries. And so we have a lot of problems. And so that's why I like picking the largest country in Africa as case example. If Nigeria can be fixed, my goodness, many other countries in Africa will borrow leaf from Nigeria and use Nigeria templates and use Nigeria example. So this subject matter today is a very contentious. A lot of people may not be happy with me, but I don't care how people feel about me. It's not important to me. As long as I'm making sense, I'm pleasing God, and I am speaking for the poor. I'm speaking for the less privileged. Of course, I honor all men. I respect everybody. But if what I'm saying today will touch somebody close to you, that is what is called maturity. The ability to accept the truth. Even if the truth is going to affect you personally. The ability to agree that I am wrong. My daddy is wrong. My mommy is wrong. My daddy cannot be telling lie. My mommy cannot slap people. So when somebody is accusing your mom and say what your mom has done is bad, you don't flare up and get angry at that person. I agree what you have said. It's true. What she did was wrong. The only thing I don't condone, I don't do, is dishonoring people, insulting people, is unchristian. I don't do it. And so, but we have to point out the issues that are devaluing us as a continent, and particularly as a nation. Now, we have a very serious problem on our hand, which I want to point our attention to in 2018. Placing properties and real estate above people. Placing properties and real estate above people. All across the length and breadth of Africa, particularly western part of Africa, and in Nigeria in particular, the number one disease, the number one sickness that many people have is this thing called real estate, property. If you have visited Nigeria recently and you have seen what I'm saying today, you actually understand what I'm trying to say. There is nothing wrong in buying houses. It is just an investment, and you make money from it. You can even buy houses for yourself, for your wife, and live there and enjoy yourself. There is nothing wrong in buying houses. Everybody buy houses. You have to live in a decent place. You have to live in a good house. But like I said yesterday, there is a difference between greed and need. There is a threshold that the need of a man can pass over that will translate from need to greed. Virtually in all the cases of corruption, in all the cases of financial malpractices that have been leveled against politicians in Africa and in Nigeria, have been traced to investment in real estate. It is not a secret. Go online. Everybody that steals money, the next thing they do is go and buy properties. The next thing they do is go to Dubai, go to New York. We have a lot of cases. The former Nigerian Minister of Petroleum has been accused of taking money unlawfully. I'm not a judge. I'm not judging her. But where am I going? Where is this money hiding? This money has been pumped into real estate and properties. Everybody that has stolen money, the next thing that comes to their mind is, let me buy houses. Let me buy houses. Logically speaking, there is nothing wrong in doing that. You have money you have made genuinely, you have made that money legally, invest in anything you like, property, shares, whatever you like, bonds, it's your money. But when you have stolen money, stealing on its own is bad and terrible. I am not justifying stealing by any means possible. And now the money is taken out of the country and used to acquire exotic, sophisticated properties abroad, then it becomes another worse disease and worse problem. Stealing has no two names. Stealing is stealing. Stealing is wrong. But now let me say something now. There are two categories of people here. There are those that have not even stolen money. It's their money. Then legitimately they have made it. Maybe they are pastors, maybe they are politicians. They have not stolen money, they have worked for the money, and they have become rich. And then they take all of the money they have made and put the money in real estate. There is nothing wrong in that. Look at that thing within context. Buy houses to make money from it, because real estate appreciates quite very fast, and you can make a lot of money from it. It's a very good investment. It's a very nice investment. And there is nothing sinful, there is nothing negative, there is nothing bad about it. So I want you to get the context in which I'm speaking. The context in which I am speaking now is the context of an environment of poor people. More than 70% of people in Africa are living below the poverty line. Things are better in some countries. In some part of South Africa, things are better. But there are a lot of suburbs in South Africa where people are poor and struggling. So this thing actually affects the entire length and breadth of Africa. Let's come back to West Africa. Come back to Nigeria, for example. More than 70% of Nigerians are living below poverty line. More than 70% of Nigerians are living below $1. The United Nations has allocated $1, has identified $1. $1 is like 400 naira, whatever. At least that is the lowest level of poverty that an individual must be. And so when you have a nation where at least 70% of people are living below that line, it's an epidemic. It's an epidemic. A state of emergency should be declared. Now, when people that have been privileged to make money, either you are a pastor or you are a businessman, when they have made their money, and the next thing that comes to their mind is how to acquire properties. They don't just acquire properties that they need. This is where the problem is. If you want to buy houses, and you buy one for yourself, buy one for your wife, buy one for your children, 3, 4, 5, if 5 is what you want, the people I'm talking about are not just buying what they need. They are buying for greed. The people I'm talking about are buying for greed. Virtually all the people that have stolen money in Africa, in Nigeria, all pumped the money into properties at the detriment of the people. At the detriment of the people. And this is where we have problem. So there is a twisted logic that properties are more important than people. They are not saying them verbally in their mouth, but the ways and manners of life of many of us portrays the fact that we put more value on buildings than on people. I'm not going to change my focus now to human resources. I'm an HR expert. I've done HR to the highest possible level. I've written dozens and hundreds of articles on HR. And so I'm speaking out from a professional point of view. There is no single organization in the world. There is no single industry, no single company that has succeeded up till today on the ground of technology, property, system, structure, strategy without the active input of people. People are the greatest assets in any organization. Human beings, human capital are the greatest assets, the most important assets. All the strategies that footballers use, the coaching skills, coaching rooms, dressing rooms, everything put together cannot compare with one player on the field. Put everything together, but have bad players, poor footballers on the field, the club will still fail. So human capital development is the most important development in any nation. Developing people and empowering them is the most important in any nation. Microsoft, Dell, Walmart, Virgin Atlantic, every one of them has programs for their employees. They have all kinds of bonuses, all kinds of stock options, salary increase, vacation period, all kinds of things that they do for them. Now, I work as a consultant for a company, a mortgage company, and inside their company, inside the bank, they put in a sporting facility there. Table tennis, all kinds of games. During break time, employees will go for 1 hour break and they will play table tennis. When you go there for the first time, you will be mad. What kind of a company is this? Employees will be playing, they will remove their shirts. You will not know that it's a company. And they do it for 1 hour and they return back. What are they doing? They are investing in human capital development. They are doing things that others have not done. They just want the employees to feel at home. Now, there is a study that we conducted. Any environment, any company, any organization that makes the place of work to be equal to the home of the employee, the company's profit will shoot up. If you can successfully make your place of work, if the place where you are working is made to be like your house, you will put in all your effort to make that company to grow. So they did an experiment with a company. That company is called SaaS in the US, an IT firm. You know what SaaS did? SaaS created nursery schools inside the employment environment. They have a large plant, large company, so they have different blocks of flats. They put gym there, they put nursery schools there, they put some primary schools there, they put hotel there, and they replicated, they did something like bringing the home of the employees to the place of work. So when employees come to work, they take their children to the nursery school behind the company. When they are on break, they check into the hotel room. And so within a year, the profit of SaaS went high. It became the most profitable company in America. And every other company began to leverage that strategy to ensure that employees are well taken care of. That is in the corporate world. Ask any MD, ask any human resource manager of any company. They will tell you that human capital is superior to any other kind of capital. There are other types of capital that are very good as well. But people are the drivers of strategy. People are the users of computers. People are the users of systems. Any society that diminishes the role of people, any society that diminishes the quality of people, they don't train them, they don't empower them, can never prosper. That is the sad commentary and narrative of countries like Nigeria. Nigeria today has at least 75 million illiterates. As at today, maybe the number has increased. A very fair estimate. 75 million illiterates. Even among the literates, there are a lot of uneducated literates who have gone to school but they know nothing. They know nothing. So the bulk of the resources in the hand of the government and private individuals, church owners, entrepreneurs, business owners, the bulk of it is going into acquisition of real estate, property, real estate, property, real estate, property. There is a proverb in my culture from where I came. That proverb says, the children that you have refused to build will one day come back to sell the house you have built. The children you have refused to build, they will one day come back to sell the house you have built. The problem we have in our hand is very serious. There is nothing wrong in buying properties. There is nothing wrong in acquiring real estate. It is another form of investment. There is nothing sinful about it. But there is a difference between need and greed. The disease that has affected many people in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, is greed, not need. Many of them have nice houses. Many of our politicians have good houses, nice mansions. Maybe they have one again for their wife, maybe one for their children. They have left that realm. They have graduated to the realm of greed. They stash money into different parts of the world, acquiring properties that they don't need, and they lock down those properties. You know where the foolishness is? Anytime you buy property in any part of the world, you pay property tax. You pay all kind of bills. In the UK, you pay council tax. You pay all those tax. You live in that house, you don't live in that house, is irrelevant. So what they are doing is this: when you make money or you have money and you buy properties and you scatter them around and across the globe, you are paying property, you are paying taxes to the government of those nations and helping them to service their economy. You are helping them to grow their own economy while your own economy and your people in your own country are suffering. And you think you are wise. Fine, the price of that house is appreciating, but you are paying the due. You are paying your due to the country. I have no issue against people buying properties all over the world. My primary concern today is this: if you are living in a country that has at least 70% poor people, it is charitable for you and I to place human capital development, people development above property acquisition. It is proper. That That is wisdom. If you are a parent and all you do with your money is to buy properties, and you refuse to train your children, you are digging your own grave. Because at the end of the day, when you are old and you're about to die, those children will give you up. They will sell you out. You have no legacy to rely on. You have no posterity. And many rich people, at the point of their death, they begin to regret. Many of them have not invested in their children. They have made money all over the world. And now when they die, the family members, the uncles, the aunties will come together and share the properties. And sometimes the children will become vagabonds. Vagabonds, unruly people, drug addicts, because they haven't invested. We have a very serious problem on our hands. There is nothing sinful about buying houses. There is nothing sinful in buying a land in America or in the US or in Toronto or in Tokyo or whatever. Buy a property if you can afford it, as long as you haven't stolen the money. But if you have been placed in a position of authority, you are a pastor, you are a politician, you are a governor, you are a president, you are a business owner, and you have access to huge funds, you have access to money, and the only thing that dominates your mind is to disproportionately, now mark that word, disproportionately invest in real estate at the expense of human capital development. You have missed it. What do I mean by disproportionately? I've got $1 billion. It's my money. I didn't steal the money. Nobody can query me how I spend it. But the world today has left the era of sound judgment. That you have made your money legally doesn't mean you are excused from being socially responsible. There is something we call CSR, corporate social responsibility. You don't have to be told that you must help people. That is why you see Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, all of them, Mark Zuckerberg, sharing their wealth into 2, into 3, distributing this money across the globe. They are not under compulsion to do it, but because of their own sound value system, we must be socially responsible. We must help the needy. We must help the poor. How many times have you heard that a black man, that a black pastor divided his wealth into 2, sent everything to Uganda with proven evidence? How many times have you heard that before? That a pastor in Ghana, who is the richest man in Uganda, divided his house and his wealth into 2, and with proven evidence. Not a mirage now. What people can verify, and ask them to send that money to the northern part of Nigeria or to the black people in South Africa to eradicate HIV. You won't hear such kind of a thing. The only thing that is a legacy for the black man is accumulating things. The reservoir mentality is killing us. The reservoir mentality is killing us. Unfortunately, the church has been affected. We are now in an era where the culture of silence has died. There is a group of people now that have arisen. They are not afraid to say the truth the way it is. They are not even afraid of death. For a Christian, death is only a passage to glory. So there are some people that are arisen now. If black is black, they call it black. If white is white, they call it white. And I believe you are among them and among them too. And so this season we are in now, we must build the next generation. Our children must not be caught in the web of this mess. Our children must not be caught in the web of this mess. What is the future of the next generation in Nigeria, in Zimbabwe? As of today in Nigeria now, there is severe fuel crisis. A nation reputed to be number 7 largest oil producer in the world has been grappling and struggling with organizing our oil sector. What do you think is responsible for this thing? Human capital development. Years back, the people at the ends of power, who had the authority, who had the latitude to develop programs that will affect the common man, they didn't do it. They stole the money. So successive government that came in began to battle with the problems that the previous ones have created. So they have to pay salaries of workers, they have to sponsor other projects, and so the price of oil dropped, and they were combating with many monsters. Now, as they are combating with the monsters, crime rate increased, kidnapping increased, ritualism started, terrorism started. So multiple monsters began to confront the present day government. The government in power 20 years ago didn't face such challenges. That is the power of that is the problem in not doing things at the right time. There is always a right time to take a right decision. If you miss that time, it may be more difficult to correct the errors of the past in the future. In the 1990s, Nigeria had no problem with kidnapping and all those problems. God gave that country a huge opportunity to make billions. But the irresponsible leaders that were in power at that time, they stole all the money. Now the problem piled up. The other government came in power, took over the government. They had to combat those problems. People also stole money, and then it began to multiply until we get to where we are today now. So the focus of everybody is any money my hand can grab, let me buy property. Human beings are not important in any nation in the world. I have studied and worked in Africa. I have studied and worked in Europe. I have studied and worked in North America with small company, with multinational company so I have had a lot of friends. I have seen a lot of things. The number one priority of the US government is human capital development. The number one priority of Canadian government, human capital development. Our people first. They must be happy. They must be living well. They must not kill to get fuel. I have never killed one day in my life since I left Africa to buy gas in my car. It has not happened one day. It has not happened one day that I killed. That there was a first scarcity. Not one time. And I am not enjoying that benefit because I have a special relationship with the governor. No, everybody, we are all average people. An average man on the road enjoys the same benefit the prime minister enjoys. There is no discrimination of any kind. That is what makes countries to grow. So when we have leaders who have no priority for people, we will continue to see what we are seeing today. Human capital development. In England, it is their people. In Australia, all across Europe, it is a people-oriented society. People-oriented society. And the question I keep asking myself is this: where did we go wrong? The problem of human capital is so serious in Africa and in Nigeria in particular that workers are owed salary for several months. Workers are owed salaries for several months. Pensioners are owed salaries for several months. You will see old men queuing up. My dad is 81. You'll be 81. I can't imagine my daddy queuing up in the sun after working for 50 years. He has been working and contributing. He retired about 3-4 years ago. So he worked close to 50 years. Now imagine me watching the TV and seeing my dad, biological dad, queuing up to collect 10,000 naira as pension. And the man is collapsing. How will I feel as a son of a man, except if I'm a bastard? Except if I am a bastard, will I be happy seeing my daddy queuing up in the sun? That is not the situation of many other people. Thousands of so many other men, old men, they have queued up. Many of them have fallen down and died. We have had cases where many of them fell down and died. No compensation to the family, no treatment, no announcement, no visiting from the government. There is virtually no consideration for human capital for people. Any society that has zero concern, zero passion for human capital development, and their focus is property, real estate, infrastructure, property. Those things are important, but not at the expense of people. People are the most important resource in any society. People, if war breaks down, God forbid, it won't happen in Jesus' name in Nigeria. If war break out in Nigeria today, all the properties will be burned to ashes. All the property, the first thing that was attacked in Syria, in Aleppo, I was an active observer and follower of the Syrian war. The first set of things that go down in any state of war are the buildings. By the time they throw this bomb, all the building collapses. Because people will hide inside building, insurgents to be keeping weapons in the building. So when they want to attack any particular city, they go for buildings. set them on fire, plant bomb inside them, to let you know how transient, how ephemeral, how weak in value properties will be in future if they are being acquired at the expense of people. Human capital development is the bedrock of transformation in any society. There is practically no program, no plan. Absolutely. Most of these things are just discussed theoretically. The government of Ghana, Nigeria, they have developed something. They just read all these things in the House of Senate, whatever, and nothing is done. And even if they will do anything at all, they handpick people that are privileged, that are close to big people, and give them those people. More than 90% of the population do not know anybody in power. So they will suffer for it. That is the problem that we are facing in Africa. Human capital development. The one that melts my heart most is the Church of God. The Church of God that should be the beacon of light in society. There is this consciousness. There is this mindset. It's a value system. I have to empty central bank to build my church. I don't know where this thing came from. There is nothing wrong in building high quality, beautiful church property if that's what you want. I'm not condemning it. But the scale of investment, the amount of money that our brothers and sisters and pastors are pouring into properties that they will occupy 2-3 hours or 5 hours or 10 hours for a whole week and leave, adding no value to society, practically no value. The amount of billions that go into them, you'll be amazed if I begin to tell you figures. The amount of billions. People living in developed countries where they have money, in Australia, in Germany, they don't waste money in that manner. So there's a culture of wastage. A culture of wastage propelled and provoked by this mindset. My building must be the biggest. My building must be the most expensive. That adds honor to me. So that when I'm preaching and I'm talking, I can tell people my property is the best in the world. My property has the best air conditioning system in the world. Vanity upon vanity. All is vanity. The day of death will come. Everybody is going to die. There is nobody that will be buried with his property. So many of us, many people in Africa, many politicians, their dream is to acquire the whole world. Acquire all the properties in the whole world. When they will only be buried in a small portion of land when they die. That is the vanity of life. That is the vanity of life. You know, Rick Warren is an American pastor. Rick Warren said he had been by the deathbed of many people when they were dying. He said in not one occasion has anybody that was at the point of death talking to him about property, about my car, he said the first thing they will say is, where's my family? Where's my family? He said not one person has asked him, sir, my house in it. He said when people are at the point of death, the only thing they talk to him is, where's my wife? Where's my son? Because on that particular day, at that time, they are on the edge of eternity. Nothing else matters. Now the vanity of life now stares them on the face. All the houses they have built, if at that point they haven't built their children, there is nobody to come to their deathbed. Let me not deceive you. Every one of us will experience that thing. You will be 80 one day, you'll be 90 one day, you'll be 100 one day, you'll be on your deathbed, and the next question that you will ask is, where are my people? Where are my people? If you have not developed anybody, nobody will be there. Nobody will be there. Nobody collects the key of his house on the deathbed and put them in his pocket, taking them to heaven. For we brought nothing to this world, and it is certain we will take nothing out. What are some of the areas of human capital development that changes nations? Education. That is the number one and the most important. Education. If you live in a country where more than half of the population are illiterate, and you have money, you're a billionaire, and more than 90% of your investment is property, Not because you need those things, it is greed that is fueling it. You just want to have the biggest and the largest so as to fuel your ego. Whether you are a pastor, you are a politician, I don't care. Ego is ego. Ego has no respect for anointing. In fact, the most anointed people sometimes are the most proud. Because you cannot see it on their face, but the way they will comport themselves, you know this man is proud. He's proud. Where do we go from here? Education. Education. Somebody was saying something yesterday. I was watching on social media, and he said, this man is just a regular civil servant. But he said he has made up his mind that he is going, and his wife, they will sponsor at least one poor person to school until university level. Now, if you pick one person, I pick one person, based on our capacity, maybe I can handle 10, you can do 20, my friend can do 50, and we make it a body in our hearts that we will clear our society of illiteracy within 5 to 10 years. Within 5 to 10 years, we will sanitize Africa. Nigeria will be sanitized. All the boys that are being recruited for Boko Haram, for terrorism, for kidnapping, they will all own bachelor's degree in chemistry, BSc in accounting. Go back and call them after they have become a graduate to come and join Boko Haram if they will answer you. To let you know the connection between education and crime. When the rate of literacy rises in a country, crime or criminality drops. Because it is very unlikely that a man that works with a bank as a manager will be asked to put bomb in his body and kill himself when he's not mad. He won't do it. Virtually almost all the people that are involved in terrorism in Nigeria are illiterates, and Nigerians. All those boys that have nothing to do, they pick them up, give them money, motivate them, inspire them, brainwash them, and give them weapons. But if they are educated and they are empowered, it will reduce the level of indoctrination. It will reduce the level of brainwashing. This is the sad commentary of our society in Africa. And I'm making Nigeria a case study today. It is not a sin to invest in property if you have the means. At least you haven't stolen the money. It becomes a sin when you have stolen the money and you're investing in it. When you have an opportunity to choose two types of investment, your son should go to school or you should build a house. Which one will you choose? You'll be surprised that so many people in Africa will choose building a house and will allow their son to go and learn a trade. If you are in a position of authority, you are a pastor leading a big church, and God has blessed you, and you have money and access to power, what is the number one thing on your agenda as a church? To build the largest church in the whole of the world. That is the number one thing on the agenda of our pastors. The poor people can go and die. If the government cannot take care of them, it's not my responsibility. And I can see Jesus becoming the pastor of a 10 million church, and Jesus is telling people, go and die. You can imagine what Jesus will do if he is in that condition. And this is why I have taken it upon myself to challenge my friends and challenge myself as well, that there is nothing greater than human capital development in any nation. The people of any nation are the foundation of transformation, of growth, of development. Name any country in the world that is doing anything great, you will see the name of somebody behind it. The greatest footballer in the world is human being. The greatest this is human being. The greatest that is human being. Who will rescue our people from the hands of these predators? Where is the man? Where is the leader? Where are the leaders who will rescue our people in Africa? Who will rescue Nigerians from the hand of these predators? Whose primary agenda is to continue to accumulate, acquire the reservoir mentality. Who is going to kill it? Until that monster is killed, the monster called reservoir, until it is killed, we'll just be going around the cycle, round the circle. Because once people see themselves as channels, they will open up and use resources to help themselves and to help others. but we have to continue to speak out. If we keep quiet, the matter will be made worse. So my focus is to speak to the next generation. I was telling my wife this morning, I said, the older generation, as far as I'm concerned, is only by the grace of God. There is no hope. All the people in their 60s and 70s, they have already made up their mind that they will not change. All the people in their early 50s, they have made up their mind that they will never change. But me, I have made up my mind that I will be part of the solution and not part of the problem. I will be part of the solution and not part of the problem. We are looking for a time and a season where the federal government of Nigeria, as a case study, will rebuild and develop programs that will empower our citizens, bring them out of illiteracy to literacy. We are praying and looking for a time when churches will arise, whether they will do it alone or come together and say, there are 10 million illiterates in the state of Kano. We have done our own sample, our own research. There are 10 million illiterates from the age of 7 to the age of 50. Now, 20 churches are coming together. We have done a calculation on a budget. We will need 20 billion to sponsor them throughout secondary school and university and to mentor them. We've created mentorship programs, and then they roll this thing out, and all the churches contribute, and they take 10 million people out of illiteracy in Kano. Within the next 10 years, Kano will have thousands and millions of graduates and doctors and professors. What will happen to Kano? There will be an eruption. There will be an earthquake of intellectual knowledge. Everybody will spill over. People will be spilling over. People will be traveling from other states to go to that state. That is just one state. You want to tell me that there is no money to do it? There is plenty of money. The money is in houses in Dubai, in New York, in Toronto. The money is in different estates all across Abuja in Nigeria, where they have built and bought houses they don't even live in. They just lock them there, including many of our Christian leaders doing the same thing. Jesus gave a word. He said, do not lay up treasures on earth. That word fell out of the mouth of Jesus. That word didn't say do not have treasures. That scripture didn't say do not have treasure. It said do not lay up treasure. I think it's in Matthew chapter 6 or 7. Do not lay up treasure. The key word in that scripture is lay up. It didn't say don't be rich, don't have money, don't have prosperity or be poor. No, do not lay up. It means do not be a reservoir, building up, piling up, building up, piling up. You must be a channel. If we can get this thing into our mindset as a nation, as a people, if we can get this value system ingrained in us, that the position I am now, where I have a lot of money, is a position of trust and opportunity. Yes, sir. 75 million Nigerians are illiterate. And yet somebody will say, oh, this man is doing something. Oh, don't condemn anybody. Oh, this church is something. We are doing nothing. We are doing nothing. You don't pick 100 people out of 75 million people and help them and say you have helped people. One rich person plus 6 poor people makes 7 poor people. If you want to help people, you help them where? For people who have limited resources, they do little. If you have huge resources, you do much. So I was thinking about this subject today. I said, what am I going to speak about? And this thing kept ringing. I saw the picture of people queuing up for fuel inside the sun in Lagos, Nigeria. And I shook my head like this. Say, these people have been robbed. The country that produces one of the best fuel and gas in the world, ranked as number 6 or 7 now. The people have been robbed. There is nothing called human sympathy in the heart of the government. They may say it on their lips. They may read it in newspaper, but there is nothing to back it up in terms of actions. And the new generation are coming in. parents are giving back to children. Those guys, those small boys and girls are growing up in this loveless society. My role this afternoon is to steer and inspire us. There is nothing wrong in buying properties. There is nothing wrong in building houses. It is good to live in nice houses, live comfortably, but not doing so at the expense of developing people. You must reprioritize your goal as an individual. As a pastor, you must build your people commensurately with building property. There must not be poor people in the church while you are building 50 billion property projects. If all the people in the church have been empowered to a sufficient level, there will still be people who will be very. There are some people that even if you want to train them, they just want to be whatever. I'm not speaking of those. I'm speaking about people who are actively in need, who need to be empowered. Whether you are a pastor, or you are an imam, or traditional worshiper, or politician, regardless of your position in society, we cannot go far as a nation if we keep shifting responsibilities. It is not me who will do it. They will do it. The government makes money from oil. I should use my own hand money to go and help people. No. So it was right for Jesus to use his own hand and life to rescue you and I from hell. If Jesus had thought like the way you are, many people are thinking, everybody will go to hell. So Jesus needed to die on the cross for himself. Jesus was God already before he died. Everything Jesus did didn't benefit him anything extra. Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. In some verses after he said, and God said, let us make man. Who are the us? God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Jesus has been there. He has been there. He has been there. Yes. Before the foundation of the world, he has been there. He didn't need to die on the cross, yet he inconvenienced himself. Jesus would have said, why is it my problem to die for their sin? I didn't commit sin. I should not come and die for their sin. We need people that think like Jesus in the realms of power in Africa. And I'm bringing this teaching to a close today. I'm provoking everybody listening to me and those that have left and those that are coming back to watch later on. You cannot progress above the quality of the people that surround you as a nation. Nigeria as a country is not made up of property, building. When you hear the word Nigeria, it means people, human beings. If the people there are poor, the country cannot progress. If the people there are backward, the country cannot progress. They will just be making money, making mouth, talking every day. Nothing will happen. If the people there have bad value system, the country cannot progress. Nobody can be greater than the quality of its relationship. When you hear America is great, it's not the building. It is the people, the Bill Gates, the Warren Buffett, the people that are there. It is people that make countries great, not the buildings and properties. This is not my 500-seater auditorium as a pastor that make my church great. It is the people in my church that make the church great. So if they are godly people, God-fearing, responsible, men of integrity, they are prospering, they are doing well, then the church is a great church. The church is not great because it has 500,000 seats with AC and with colored glasses and with diamond stones. That is not what is called greatness. In most cases, it's called greed and covetousness. Jesus was talking to the apostles in Matthew 24. He said, look at this building. There is not one stone that will be left on top of one another that will not be destroyed. The temple was built by Solomon. Bible scholars tell us that as of today, the temple of Solomon cost $60 billion. The gold and diamonds that were used to build that temple, $60 billion. If we were to value it today, the Romans invaded that temple in AD 70, burnt it to the ground. The Romans burnt a property that cost $60 billion to the ground. That is the same temple that the Israelites want to build now in Jerusalem that is causing problem between them and the Palestinians. Palestinians. And Jesus said, there is not one stone that will be left on top. He was given a prophecy about the invasion of the Romans in AD 70 that will come. After Jesus died in AD 70, the Romans came, fulfilled that prophecy, burned down the temple. $60 billion disappeared. That is the ephemeral nature of buildings and property. The transient nature. Human beings live forever. Buildings don't live forever. Even after human beings have died, they will still go and live forever, either in hell or in heaven. Human beings live forever. Buildings don't live forever. I wish this thing can be blown on the rooftops of the Senate House in Nigeria, the presidential palace, governors' houses, on our churches. Let people, even if they put their ears and in their ears, let this thing be blowing. Buildings don't last. Human beings last. When they die, they go to heaven. Buildings will collapse and will come to nothing one day. That is why great nations invest in building their people. Because human capital development is superior to any other kind of development. Nigeria is not a great nation, not because it doesn't have big houses, big cars. It is not a great nation because it doesn't have a lot of great people. There are few great people in Nigeria, but not many. Not many. So you have a lot of politicians that are corrupt, pastors, a lot of them that are corrupt, students, a lot of them that still are corrupt, kidnappers, and then we have a lot of other good people in Nigeria, but the proportion of the bad ones is increasing by the day. So that is diminishing the influence of the few good ones. There are bad people in America, bad people in England, all over the world, but the proportion of those that are doing great things, building industries, manufacturing products, they are increasing. So their proportion is overshadowing the bad ones in their country. Any sound thinking government of any nation will invest more in human capital, and they will diminish the role of property. Property is very good. We have to live in houses. We have to go to school in buildings. These things are important. I'm not talking about those ones that affect people directly. I'm speaking of unnecessary and greedy, covetous acquisition of real estate and properties all across the globe because I want to be the biggest and the best. That is the problem we have in our hands. In 2018, I want us to make a commitment that we give more attention to human capital development. I wish our leaders have an opportunity to listen to what I'm saying today. But we're going to continue to speak. We will relent to speak because of the coming generation of people. Thank you so much for this broadcast. I'm going to bring it to a close now. And I believe you've learned a lot from it. People are more important than properties. Buildings don't last forever. Human beings last forever. No nation can outgrow the quality of our people. When the people are poor, the country is poor. When the people are rich, the country is rich. Rich nations are not rich buildings. Rich nations are rich people. When the people are rich, the nation is rich. So whatever you will do and how we do to enrich and empower our people through education, through training, through mentorship, we must do it. The more people we get out of illiteracy and poverty, the better it is for our nation in Nigeria, in Ghana, and all across Africa. Thank you so much for this time you spent with me. God bless you. Have a nice evening. I see you tomorrow at the same time. Bye-bye. God bless you, sirs.